Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. That's my email. It's in the box below. Reach out to me directly for pricing questions about this watch or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Email me for pricing, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Today, we're discussing a 20-piece limited edition from 2014 in sapphire, white gold, and grade 5 titanium. This is the HYT H2. The second watch from HYT. It is, like the others, a retrograde and a regulator, but it's much more. We're going to need a little bit more than my usual 5 to 6 minutes to unpack this watch because there is a lot to say. Starting with the dimensions. The watch is the original HYT H2 case that was introduced in 2013, so it's not the H0 lugless version, meaning it wears large. 48.8 millimeters in diameter. It is 18 millimeters thick. It is 56.4 millimeters from lug tip to lug tip with a 25 millimeter spacing between the lugs. We're going to throw this watch on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters circumference, and I'm going to opine that because of the span of the lugs and the thickness of the case, though the watch sits comfortably enough, I'd say you need a 17 centimeter circumference wrist or larger to wear this watch well. Otherwise, you're going to get a lot of lug overlap at the edge of your wrist. There's your cuff shot. It is not designed to disappear underneath a dress cuff. This watch is loud and proud of it. It is well made, and the strap is substantial. As you can see, a custom conforming cut strap, large rectangular scale black alligator leather with a contrasting blue stitch. It's a folded edge, but it's thickly bolstered, so it has a lot of volume. There's stuffing inside it. You can see it's cut to trace the arc of the case as well as the angle of the lugs. On the underside, it is calfskin, and you can see that it is a Jean Rousseau strap, so you can get aftermarket straps made for these watches, which means you can take advantage of its screw-down crown and 50-meter water resistance with the right kind of strap to take it swimming. The watch is surface swimmable, and it has some added measures of security thanks to a deployant clasp rather than a pin buckle. Twin trigger release, so it cannot pop open, and it has a minder system such that you tuck the strap in, and then all the excess length is contained underneath the strap, so there are no awkward minder loops. There's no excess length showing. It's very compact, clean, and because of the deployant, you have that protection against dropping the watch while putting it on or removing it. The watch includes a highly modular case that's made of a combination of box section sapphires, grade 5 titanium, and white gold. Now, the white gold looks warmer, the titanium looks gray, and then the sapphire speaks for itself, so you can see what the different parts are made of. The timepiece does include a rubber shoulder around that screw-down crown, and one of the most dramatically cambered box section sapphires I've ever seen. Short of a Corum bubble, this is about as extreme as it gets. Now, that kind of sapphire is not cheap to make, so real money was spent here. And you can see, held by blackened bolts, there is a all-encompassing full-width sapphire cap on the reverse of the case, and you can see both on the sapphire at center and then on the lug the symbol of Kellos, which is a case maker out of Saulnes-Léger, Switzerland, that makes the case for HYT. Rolling over to the dial side, you can see that there's a blackened numeral 6 down at 6 o'clock, and the watch, as before, is a regulator and a retrograde, meaning you have separate displays for your minutes and your hours. There is a tube in borosilicate, basically a sort of sapphire in its own right, but one that can be manipulated. It's a glass tube, to be precise, and there are two immiscible liquids, one of which is blue and one of which is clear, so you're actually looking at two liquids all the time, and the meniscus between them indicates the hour. So right now you can see the watch includes that retrograding, or I should say retrograding fluid action and regulator minute hand, and you can see as I cross the bottom of the register, you see it's 30 and then it's 30. So to avoid getting stuck in that no man's land, as the time advances, the hand will automatically jump across. So it has that jump built into its action, and you can see as I advance it, the fluid really does advance quite quickly, and you always have that entertaining jump, so you're not blocking your view of these wonderful bellows down at 6 o'clock. They're operated by cams driven by the Swiss lever escapement, so one expands while the other contracts, and they pump that liquid around the dial. I'll also say that when it reaches the end of its travel, you can see that there's no place for the fluid to go. So I mentioned that this is a regulator, but it is also a retrograde. Take note, there's a sapphire track for reading the minutes inboard of the Ployepoxyde polymer hour track, and there will be a loom shot so you can get a better sense of how this looks in the dark. Watch as the fluid reaches the end of its scale. As it reaches the end of its scale, it retrogrades fairly quickly back around, so it starts its climb again. So 5, 6, and then 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it will retrograde 2 times per day, and you can see that there's a lot more to this dial than just the time-telling functions. You have the bellows, you have the glass tube, you have the escapement, you have the balance. Now here we have a full balance bridge with a free-sprung index for precise adjustment and robust shock resistance. The movement was designed, built, and finished by Audemars Piguet Renault et Papy, which is the ultra-high-end branch of AP that makes their high complications as well as the highly complicated Richard Mille watches. They've also been involved in many prestige contracts over the years, such as the original A Longue Unzona pour le Marit Tourbillon. So the pedigree of this movement is extraordinary. The basic caliber 101 for HYT, that was designed by Chronode, but the 201 that you see here is APRP, and there is an APRP stamp on this movement. Now you have a temperature indicator right here. White is good, blue is bad, but I've been told practically by HYT that on the wrist will always cool the watch in extreme temperatures and warm the watch in extreme cold temperatures. So while there's theoretically a limit to the temperatures in which you can wear this watch, HYT told me that they were never able to achieve those extremes when the watch was on the wrist because of the cooling and warming effect of the human body. So you don't really have to worry about the fluid and the temperature. The timepiece does include a multifunction crown like many high-end APRP movements do. You can see in the neutral position, that is without pulling the crown out, it's in neutral. Pull it out one step, and now I am in remontage, and I am turning the crown and winding the watch. And then pull it out once more, the heure indication, and you can see I am setting the watch. The watch, of course, does have an enormous balance, and it does have an overcoil hairspring, so it has everything you need in a sports watch caliber: a big balance with a lot of inertia, free-sprung architecture, a full balance bridge, and then because of the overcoil, in any position, the hairspring is going to breathe concentrically, meaning gravity doesn't have the normal effect of speeding or slowing the watch depending on position. Of course, the timepiece also includes gorgeous hand finishing. The bridges here are made out of titanium, so the finishing execution on titanium bridges is not a simple matter, and you'll note the movement uses both polished, black polished screw heads and fired blue screws. It is truly a sight to behold. It beats away at 21,600 vibrations per hour, and although it does not have a formal power reserve indicator, you can view the skeletonized mainspring barrels, both of them on the reverse side, and get a sense as the coils coil and uncoil just how close to exhaustion the movement is. You can also see that there's a cool nickel anthracite coating all over this 28 joule movement, so it is a techno-industrial look rather than traditional haute horlogerie, but make no mistake, that is also there. And you can see that it features handsome satination on the wheels, as well as a swan's neck style click like an old pocket watch. So there's a lot of nods to tradition, as unconventional as this movement is. And you can see this is serial number 01, which will carry special meaning for some clients. Some folks always love to have 01 in a limited series. This watch packs that and a lot more. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.